guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on Queen of Air and Darkness, book 3 in the Dark Artifices series by Cassandra Clare. Queen of Air and Darkness is the final book in Cassandra Clare's Dark Artifices series. The Shadowhunters face civil war after a few of their own have been brutally murdered. In the meantime, Emma and Julian face their own problems as the curse of their parabatide bond becomes a hazard that can not only destroy them, but also the ones they love. The fate of the Shadowhunters is at stake, and it's up to the Shadowhunters, the fairies, and the Downworlders to unite and stop those who wish to tear apart the Shadowhunter-Downworlder alliance. An amazing finale to this trilogy, yeah guys. Seriously, I enjoyed each and every book of this trilogy. So many highs, so many lows that the characters go to, and yes, some real genuine stakes, you know, when it comes to the world of the Shadowhunters and the whole Shadowhunter Downworlder alliance and whatnot. But yeah, seriously, just an amazing trilogy, once again, by Cassandra Clare. Yeah, these books are not really for my demographic in some ways, but I freaking love them nonetheless. And I think I've said this with other reviews when it comes to Cassandra Clare. You know, something I've come to realize with her books is that Cassandra Clare has her plot formula, if you will. You know, she has her plots go a certain way, she has her characters go a certain way. And what I've also come to expect is that things usually end in a pretty good place for the characters and for the plot. Everybody usually has their happy endings. I don't know if that's really much of a spoiler, but yeah, things typically work out rather conveniently by the end of all of her series. And yeah, that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily a bad thing because she does have a particular style and a particular format and formula. Thing is, you come to expect certain things, and you expect to feel a certain way by the time you finish her trilogies. And so yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing that you can predictably guess the endings half the time. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing because, you know, I still read these books because these books, they just make me feel good. You know, even though things may be dark and intense, it's like, in the back of my head, it's like, I know things will end in a certain way, you know? Things will either have a happy ending or certain things might be rather bittersweet, you know? So I know what I'm expecting when I'm heading into a Cassandra Clare series. And yeah, this book, this final book in this very huge series, yeah, did not disappoint one bit. So even though I'm very happy with this book, I think one of my slight negatives to the trilogy as a whole is that I felt like somewhere in this series, Cassandra Clare kind of shifted focus with her plot, if that makes sense. Because I feel like with book 1, Lady Midnight, she set up a certain plot, I think. And then it's somewhere, I want to say, in Lord of Shadows, somewhere in Lord of Shadows, that I feel like the plot, she was like, you know what, I'm shifting direction here. I want to do something else with this trilogy. I want a different message in this trilogy. And so yeah, it's like halfway through this series, I don't know if it's just me, somewhere halfway through this series, it's like Cassandra Clare wanted to refocus her energies on just different plot points, different characters, if that makes sense, different themes. Because yeah, all of a sudden we get this, in this like third book in particular, we get this massive civil war that happens within the Shadowhunters. And it almost just feels like it kind of came out of nowhere almost, to me anyway. And yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, just the way the world is recently, it just seems like Cassandra Clare was like, I'm fed up with the way the world is and I'm going to tell a different story. Because like I said, it just seems like she was setting up something totally different with Lady Midnight, and yeah, Cassandra Clare was like, no, I'm stopping that. I'm going somewhere else with this trilogy. Because yeah, even with like the first 2 books, you know, the first 2 books, you're introduced to particular types of villains, and I felt like those villains were brushed aside instantly, because then all of a sudden you get like right at the end of the second book, and then kind of going into this third book, you're introduced to an entirely different villain that kind of just almost comes out of nowhere to me. And yeah, the villain is very Donald Trump-like. whether you love or hate Donald Trump, that's your opinion. We're not going to get into that. But whether or not you love Donald Trump, it's like this villain that kind of just comes out of nowhere at the end of book 2 and into book 3. He's very, very Donald Trump-like. But yeah, without getting too far into spoilers, the particular character that I'm talking about that felt brushed aside in particular, because Annabelle, the character of Annabelle, she's a long distance relation of the Blackthorn family, and yes, she has a very close connection with a warlock in the first book. They have a romantic past together, and yeah, the warlock in book 1, he brings Annabelle back from the dead. And then in book 2, she's kind of running around, yeah, killing a couple characters. And yeah, to me, I thought the series was going to be focused on the Annabelle character. I thought she was going to be the primary antagonist. But then all of a sudden, it's like, that's where I'm saying I felt like the series shifted all of a sudden. Because all of a sudden, Annabelle just seems brushed to the side. And for crying out loud, this is supposed to be Annabelle on this cover, right? Am I mistaken? This is supposed to be Annabelle on this cover. The thing is, where is she in this damn book? She's only in literally a couple chapters of this book, a couple pages within those chapters. So yeah, it just seems like Cassandra Clare, she kind of ran out, you know, like, oh, I want to do something else with this book. I don't care about the villain being Annabelle anymore. So yeah, you guys, I don't really want to do too much with this review because, I mean, you've either read this trilogy or you haven't, and I can't really talk about too much, you know. So yeah, overall, I loved this book. I love the final book. I love the trilogy as a whole. I think as far as Cassandra Clare books go, I think the Infernal Devices is still my top favorite when it comes to Cassandra Clare books. I don't think anything's ever going to beat the Infernal Devices. But yeah, I still highly enjoyed this trilogy. I really loved the characters, and I loved being back in the world of the Shadowhunters and being with the Blackthorn family and whatnot. And yeah, really diving deep into the world of Fairy. Fairy is just really cool, and I love those characters. Don't get me started on the Mark and Kieran and Christina relationship. It's a three-way, and it was awesome and weirdly sexy. I loved it. So yeah, I mean, I had a few minor problems with the book, you know, but they weren't enough to just ruin it for me. And so yeah, I mean, what you're getting with this book, you're getting traditional Cassandra Clare, you know, you're getting family drama, angsty teenage drama, but I think a different element she does add to this world is this social political drama, because we've never seen that before in a Cassandra Clare book, you know. Like I said, there's a civil war that happens between the Shadowhunters, and we've never seen kind of that social political dynamic before, and it was fascinating. And I feel like with every trilogy that Cassandra Clare does, I feel like with every trilogy she's really maturing with her writing, I think, to me personally. I feel like she's maturing with her writing because she's maturing with her audience as well, because her audience, you know, we're all now like either in our late 20s or early 30s. You know, that's the primary group that is reading these books, I think. So yeah, she's matured her writing to follow the audience, which I think is a good thing. So you guys, that is it for my review of the final book in Cassandra Clare's Dark Artifices series, Queen of Air and Darkness. Loved it immensely. Can't wait for the next trilogy, I guess. I think there's supposed to be a couple more trilogies in the work, and then Cassandra Clare is claiming that she's going to be done. But yeah, this book definitely set up some promise for the next couple series. I'm very intrigued. I cannot wait. But yeah, you guys, that's it for this book review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.